Hey everyone, it's Blue Lizard Jello, and welcome back to Salt and Sanctuary. Last time we got through the very beginning of the game, we got cleaned up by the Unspeakable Terror, but we had the chance to actually take out the first boss, the Sodden Knight, and you know what? I realized, why am I going to run back to the Sanctuary when I can just use the wonderful Bell of Return? Oh, but I rested at a shrine, so that didn't quite work. Oh well, that's okay. You know, the whip, I just wish it had a combo. If it had a combo, this would be a crowd favorite, I think. But it is a killer that it doesn't. You can also slide down ladders, which is very, very useful. I'm just going to go this way and skip some enemies. Alright, and I'm going to ignore them as well. So we're going to go back to the Sanctuary. I'm going to show you all the different mechanics that you can have here, and then we're going to do some leveling up. So before we level up, let's use the consumables that we have. There we go. I really love the action that's associated with that. Oh, and I'm going to equip Granados. They're very, very useful. And, you know, I don't need the Candelabra equipped. You only need the icon equipped when you're claiming a new Sanctuary. So let's go ahead and start off. We're going to start with making an offering. So we've already talked about what these do. So this will summon a merchant, a cleric, and a blacksmith. I'm actually going to summon not the cleric, but I will summon the merchant and the blacksmith. So now I'm getting attack bonus. I'm also getting extra gold, which is very useful. And we'll talk to them as soon as I'm done leveling up. Now, let's level up. So it's going to cost me 560 salt to go to level 4, but you can see how it has a triangle and a square. That means I can increase the level just by using one of those. Square to go up, triangle to go back down if you don't want to actually use them all. So I'm going to just max it out, which is just 3 levels. And for every level, I'm going to get a black pearl, indicated by the black pearl symbol in the bottom left. Now, this is where things get very interesting. We're going to go into the tree of skill. And let's zoom out as much as we can. You can't go that far, but look at this web. My goodness. This is how you're going to upgrade all of your main stats, so your dexterity, your strength, endurance, willpower, magic, and wisdom, but it's also how you're going to be able to equip better items, including better whips, crossbows, swords, greatswords, hammers, axes, maces, staffs, daggers. The list goes on and on. But it also impacts your armor as well. So if you want better light armor, so light armor level 3, you need to get there. So let's see where we're at now. Let's zoom back in. Right now, this is the first node. So class 1 hunter, we can use class 1 whips, as well as class 1 marksman. We can use class 1 crossbows and pistols. We can start from these nodes and go in any direction, and I currently have 3 points I can use as indicated by the 3 black pearls. To the left of the black pearls, those are gray pearls, which we don't have any, but it's a nice system because anytime you find gray pearls, you can actually remove 1 skill point and reallocate it somewhere else, which is pretty cool. So it kind of follows that your dexterity weapons are kind of in the center here, and your ranged weapons are over here, like your archers and your crossbows and your pistols. Over here, you start getting into your heavier weapons, like your berserker class, the hammers and the axes, so on and so forth. And then in the bottom right, you have your cleric, and bottom left, you have your other magic, so your offensive magic. I don't necessarily want any magic, but I would like class 1 cleric. I would like the mending spell. Having the mending spell I think is useful because it's good for not only healing, but it actually can heal some of your wounding, which is really nice. So I would like to get there, but it means I have to use at least, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oh jeez, quite a few. Is it worth it? You know, I'm not going to do it for now. If I find that I need to, I may go that route, but I'm not going to go that route now. By the way, this node is found throughout the area, and this is a Poultice Pouch. Every point you put into a Poultice Pouch will give you 1 more healing item every time you rest. It can be very, very useful, so I'm probably going to focus on that quite a bit. Let's see, Dexterity is going to be my main stat. And let's see. It's also nice because you can go through here and you can see, okay, so if I increase right here, right now, if I go up to this node, my willpower, what does that impact? That gives me more focus, more stamina, and better drop rate, which is pretty useful. So if I go there, I can then get another Poultice Pouch immediately, which is nice. Or I can go this route, which is probably more so what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do Dexterity, and then another Poultice. Perfect. There we go. I don't really have an exact plan for this build, but it's going to be heavily dexterity. I want to use the whips, and I'm probably going to get a pistol as soon as I can, as opposed to a crossbow, but we'll get there when we get there. Now, let's talk to a blacksmith. Sword, shield, mail, and plate. If you need it, I can craft it. So let's see what we can buy from him. So he sells a lot of the beginning items, so your dagger, a sword, the spatha, which is a class 1 sword, axe, crossbow, which I already have, bow, and a spear. Unfortunately, no pistol, which is a shame. He also sells your shields. I don't plan on using a shield too much, especially since you can parry without one, and then just some pretty common items there. And the upgraded system. The upgrade system is mostly used with drops that you get from enemies. There are a couple that you'll find just throughout the world, but especially your low level upgrade materials, it's all going to be farmed from enemies. And if you take a look, right now I need a lock of hair and I need salt 250 in order to upgrade to the next level. I don't have any locks of hair, so we're not going to be able to upgrade just yet. By the way, the attack rating, you can see right now it says if I were to upgrade, it would be 8.8 and 13.6. Those items, or I'm sorry, those numbers, the first number, 8.8, is my standard attack. Well, not my standard attack, but that's the attack rating of the weapon itself. So the whip would do 8.8 points of damage. The 13.6 is the base damage of the weapon plus any scaling bonus you're getting. So because the whip has a dexterity scaling of A, I am getting an extra about 5 points, 4.8 points of damage just from my scaling alone. That's how you read that. So nothing we can do with the blacksmith yet, but just getting the attack bonus is going to be very nice. And then the merchant, care to browse my wares? I do care. He sells some very useful items. So you have healing items, you have fire bombs essentially, pitch fire, which is awesome. This is an item that you consume to apply a fire effect to your weapon. Very, very useful for many bosses. Flintlock shot, if I had a pistol, that would be perfect. He also sells bolts, which I don't need any bolts yet. Bell of Return. Oh, is the Bell of Return? Oh my goodness, did I misspoke? I absolutely misspoke. The Bell of Return is not a forever item. So I actually used up my Bell of Return. I'm sorry, I apologize. I think it was in the last video where I said that wasn't consumed, and it absolutely is. So my apologies. I'm probably not going to buy any more of those. But I do want to show you this. This is interesting. You can buy pouches of salt. It's not a really good ratio. You spend 500 gold and you only get 100 salt in return. But if you're really close to leveling and you have a lot of gold, which by the way, by the end of the game, you will have a ton of gold, this actually is a legitimate way for you to level up with gold instead of salt. So something just to keep in mind. Salt Seeker's Ring, I bought this on my other character just because I had the money. But in later levels where it can be really confusing as to where you are. This can be helpful if you die because it'll actually give you an indicator on your screen of which direction you need to head to find your lost salt. When I die, we'll talk more about where your salt is when you die. And then the charm, the lantern charm, will illuminate your surroundings. It's not very bright, although it's not a terrible thing to have, but the charm actually hangs off your weapon, and there are many, many better charms out there, so this one is kind of a waste. But there we go. All right, let's push forward. Let's actually start making some progress. I want to get that off my hotbar because I don't need it. All right. So I am going to probably be killing a lot of enemies just because I want to start getting some salt. Oh, and I also just got an upgrade material, the Rotten Walker's Ear. Nothing I have now is actually going to use that, but it's good to start collecting. This is also interesting. These characters up here, from my understanding, these are players. So these will change periodically, and these are players that are in your area around the same time. I just thought that was a nice touch. So I'm still not two-shotting these guys, which is kind of a shame. I thought I would be. I especially don't like the fact that I can't charge up attacks. I think that's a really neat feature. Over here, can't get through because there's a gate. But you do want to break the obstacles if you can, because you can get some money. You can even get some salt out of some of them. Go. There's another lever up there I'm going to have to pull. Now I want to make sure that I've explored everything. Over here, is this a dead end? I think this is a dead end. So yes, you can run into enemies off screen. Kind of weird. There's a pouch of salt. We're not going to get there to that treasure and that lever for quite some time. I believe we actually need the gravity brand in order to get it. Let's just keep pushing forward. We had that fortress key. So we are going to be... Is there a drop attack? Not really. Come on, dog. Oh. Kill you. Still need to get that item, and we will. Some of the flying enemies can be very difficult. Endless Fang, yet another upgrade material. Oh. And he got me. And he got me. Oh, that was actually a stun. I could have actually used that to kill him. Shame. Got my bolts, got a tooth. So now I'm gonna rest here just to get my health back to normal because I should have taken those hits. There we are. So this is actually a player message. This is worthless. This is not worthless. I like having that shrine there. Speak for yourself, my friend. Here's that item we saw up on the ledge. The journey bottle. This is how you create messages. So we can create one right now if you'd like. So let's go ahead and say, by the way, a lot of options. A lot of options. Let's say, let's say praise. No, not that one. Praise the... Yeah, I know what you're thinking. I'm gonna say sun. Oh, but you can't say sun. But you can say praise the salt. And I will go ahead and add an exclamation point because I am not getting around here. Praise the salt. And there we go. Now this message will appear in world for other people to see. There's no rating system, so there's really no benefit to it, but it's an option. There's that unlocked, and there is Mend. This is what I really do want to get. So Mend, it's a class 1 prayer. It restores HP and reduces some wounding, but I don't know if we're going to end up getting there or not. We'll see. There we go, use the fortress key. Here is an NPC. Every NPC, they have a quest, but it's not really a quest. You just kind of have to run into them every spot that they're in order to fulfill their quest.
Greetings, traveler. Do you have a quest?
Yeah, I gotta find a princess.
Rescuing a princess? I haven't seen any princesses, but don't lose hope, friend. Anyway, it's good to have a quest. Would you like to know what my quest is?
Yeah, I'm not stingy. Lay it on.
Excellent. My quest is to invade that castle to the east, defeat its guardians, and slay the dragon. Castles must be invaded and dragons must be slain, mustn't they?
Yeah, I agree.
Getting into the castle is a different story. There's a bridge to it, but it's missing bits.
Well, we'll have to investigate that. Thank you very much, sir. There's a black pearl. You will occasionally find black pearls just strewn across the world, and that will give you a free skill point without even leveling up. Very, very nice. So if I use my left analog stick and X, I can drop down. So I'll grab the pitchfork and a pouch of salt. Pitchfork is just an item, but I'm gonna go left for a moment, or right for a moment, and we will see this is our next shrine. This is a shrine of Devara. This is one of the gods we could have chosen very early on. I'll grab the stone sellsword, and here, I could rest here, but if I rest here, I'm not gonna have my red flasks. I will get Devara's healing item. In fact, Devara's healing item is really good, the Water of Blessing. And can I level up? I can probably actually level up once, can't I? Yeah, might as well. We have 2 points, might as well use them. Also, you can take the oath. If you take the oath, you sin because you break in the covenant with the other sanctuary. To be quite honest, I have no idea what sinning does. I haven't noticed any negative impact from taking the oath from another creed. There isn't an NPC where you can pay to have the sin removed, but I don't know what the sin does. If you guys know, please let me know. I would love to learn. But as of right now, I just have no idea. So let's see, where are we headed next? Class 2 whips. The nice thing about all of these nodes that give you the class 1, class 2, class 3 of items, you don't just get that, you also get some point in dexterity or willpower or strength. So in this case, even though I don't have a class 2 whip, If I were to spend 2 points to take this, I will get 2 points of willpower, which is more stamina, which is always nice. In fact, I am going to do that right now. But before I do that, let me also show some of the nodes. In fact, most of the nodes that are specific to one trait, like strength or dexterity, they will actually have 3 bubbles in it, which you can see kind of in the bottom right of that circle. I can put up to 3 points in this, so I can get 3 points of dexterity by putting 3 skill points into this. You don't always have to go to the next node in order to get that. Something to keep in mind. There we go. So if I find a class 2 whip, or if I can transmute this into a class 2 whip, then even all the better. Cool. I also got a stone cell sword, so that would enable me to do co-op. I am here just for a couple of items. I'm not going to go too far to the right. See, I just got 3 bells of return. Why did I think that they weren't consumable? Why did I think that even for a moment? I don't know. That was rather silly of me. So up here, in fact, I really can't do anything because I don't have that brand. Well, we got the bells of return. I am not going to go further right because it gets very dangerous, and that's not the way that we need to head just yet. Instead, we will do some, you know what? I think I can actually drop to get that item. I can't remember. Oh, by the way, this is a cleric. So if I tell him no, he's not actually going to allow me to do anything. He's not going to sell me anything or teach me anything unless I take the oath. Also, I think I mentioned this in the last video. You can't make any offerings to a shrine until you are actually a member of that creed. Yeah, here we go. So I can't get that item, but I can drop here to get this. Ooh, a bag of salt and a flanged mace. Let me tell you, the mace is a powerhouse. If you want an early weapon to just absolutely rock the enemy's world, haha, here's a secret. The flanged mace is where it's at. So I just found that by interacting using circle, and we get a secret area. Ooh, what do we have? Nothing, because we have to get on that side in order to open that. But that's okay. Yeah, let's make sure I check all these. Even though I know where some secrets are, I mentioned previously, I don't know where they all are, so I will kind of spam circle several times. Okay, get them. So here's another obelisk. You can use this to go straight up, and there are some awesome items up there, but it's gonna be a while before we get there. But we got a bow and arrow. I'm gonna stick to the crossbow, but if you are an archer, you want the bow, there you go. And this is gonna lead us right back into this area with the crossbowman and the regular, oh jeez, wasn't paying attention. So just a bit of a shortcut, which is really nice to have. By the way, you know, I didn't actually make mention of this, but if I'm using a ranged item, so if I'm using a bow, a crossbow, throwing dagger, even the granados, in fact, let me show you on a throwing dagger, when I hold this in, there's a little reticle that appears, and I can actually aim using the analog sticks. It can be very, very useful for pulling individual enemies. Now, before I go for that item, I want to show you this guy who is immensely helpful early on. Hello, friend. Trinkets to sell, trinkets for coin. He's just kind of a traveling merchant. He has a couple of spots, and his inventory will upgrade depending on where you find him, but he sells upgrade materials right off the bat. Now, they're a bit pricey, 500 for a single one, but right now, all I need is a single lock of hair to upgrade any one item to its next level. So I'm actually gonna buy probably 2 of these for 1,000. That way, next time I go back to the blacksmith, I can upgrade at least my whip and my crossbow. Maybe I'll do my whip and my sword, I'm not sure. He also sells some bolts. Ooh, flame bolts. 40 each. Probably worth grabbing some of those. Kind of expensive. But he also sells torches and stained pages. Stained pages are going to add arcane damage to your weapon, but it also has a, well, it's not hidden because it actually says, crush its brittle pages in a holy place to expunge its sacred light. We're going to do that much later. You actually use this in a sanctuary that's not your own, and something happens. And I'm not going to tell you what, I'm going to show you what, but I'm going to show you what later on. By the way, he is also where you're going to buy some boss armor. So from the Sodden Knight, I now have this armor set available. It's expensive, it's pretty cool looking, but not for me, at least not yet. All right, so now let's get this item. That platform is going to fall away, so as soon as you jump, you need to get to the other one. And there we go. Bundle of salt and the soldier spear. I haven't used the spear, by the way, another secret, but apparently it's really good. So let's go down here and get this item, and then I'll maybe at least showcase the spear. lightning bolt, and a torch. So lightning bolt is a really great magic item or magic spell, but I don't have the ability to use it. But let's see, can I use the spear? Yes, because it's a class 0 spear. So let's take a look at this. Here's your light attacks. Here's your heavy attacks. Kind of a cool run move. And then there is the combo, which is really awesome. We might actually end up using a spear some. It is much better damage. Let's play with the spear a little bit. I've never actually fought with the spear. Okay, time to light this up, because we should have, yeah, this guy, this guy's well above our capabilities, but I think we can take him if we're careful. Oh, missed. Yeah, we're gonna be able to do it, but we gotta be gotta be careful. Just like the Sodden Knight, if he jumps, you can actually just kind of walk under him, which is really nice. You just have to be ready. Oh, just in case he doesn't jump. Oh, so I mentioned Devara's healing item. It gives you the healing, but not only that, you also get temporary protection. It's not an invulnerability, but it's really, really useful to have that added defense. I would like you to jump if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. Oh, I got 3 hits. That was nice. Didn't think I would. You know, there we go. And how about, should I do the combo? Oh, I actually stunned him. That was good. And then he jumped? You fool. All right, that was a big hit. Big hit. We got to get away and heal, because if he hits us again, we're probably toast. Come on, do a jump for me. Come on, buddy. You know what, I do have Granados. They're pretty effective, actually. Let's see what kind of damage we get with these guys. 11? They're not that great, actually. Not that great on him. Alright, let's grab this item just in case we do accidentally die. Stained Page and a Stone Mage. Excellent. So we were just talking about the Stained Page, and now we just got one for free. Didn't even have to buy it. I'm very okay with that. 1 damage from the daggers. Not really gonna cut it. I would like to kill you. It's gonna take a little while. Oh, there we go. 600 salt. I am very okay with that. Excellent. So let's put our torch away. By the way, the torch, as you can see, takes the spot of your left hand, which makes sense. So whatever you have in your offhand, you are going to unequip it whenever you have to use a torch, which I think is a fair trade-off. And then we got some torches there, and you can see over there we have death. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch these to flame bolts, and then hopefully, oh, nice hit. We are going to catch him on fire a little bit. Oh, double hit. And we gotta bait him. Oh, that's hard to hit with a spear. And we got him. We got death already. And what'd you drop for me? Oh, my bolts. So you get the bolts back, but they are no longer flame, which I think is absolutely a fair trade-off. A little bit of a jumping mechanic here. Be careful. Excellent. And then right up here, we're gonna open this gate. After we get, oh geez, Calling Horn and a Stone Guide. The Guide is probably the best NPC that you can have in a Sanctuary. Even though technically you only need 1, and you'll see why and say that in just a minute. But they're really, really good to have, because if you use a Calling Horn, which we just picked up, and you have a guide in any given Sanctuary, you can teleport to that Sanctuary immediately. And let's just see where this leads. Look at this, we are right outside. We might as well rest and level up, and probably upgrade our items first. So let's use some salt. Any other bags or pouches? Oh yeah, we got a bag, and we've got a bundle. So something I always recommend, and this goes for the Souls games and Salt and Sanctuary, I recommend upgrading before you level up. Upgrading tends to be more of a big difference than leveling up. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's upgrade, and we're definitely, no, I'm not gonna use the spear. I said I'm gonna use a whip, I'm gonna use a whip. So we can do this. So we're going to go right now from 8.0 to 8.8. Done. Bullwhip is doing more damage. And I'm not going to upgrade the crossbow, I've decided, because I want to use pistols, but we will upgrade the arming sword. There we go. And still some salt left over. That's good enough, at least for one level. Done. And then let's level. So I got my flask back. You notice we don't have the water blessing anymore. And we have 1 point here. And what do we want? There's class 2 light armor. Do I want endurance? Do I want strength? I don't want strength. I want to stick to dexterity. But willpower is not bad. Willpower is not bad. All right, let's do... Where's the next poultice? Let's see where the next poultice is. It's kind of a ways away. So, let's go. We'll do this, because that way we can go up here, and we can follow the hunter path. There we go. So let's also make an offering. So let's get the guide in here, and we'll also get the sellsword. The sellsword, if you have another person sitting next to you, this is how you actually do co-op. So you talk to him, and then you can say hire, and that was how you actually get a co-op partner in. It is local only, does not have any online, but the guide is really useful because, like I said, you can use him to teleport anywhere, but also he can travel to any sanctuary, even if it doesn't have a guide. So I could go right to the Bandits Pass, the Sanctuary of Devara, just by talking to him, which is really useful. But you can also buy from him the Calling Horns, which is the item that allows you to travel to any sanctuary as long as it has a guide in it. Cool. Okay, well, it's not quite half an hour, but I think I'm going to call that another episode here. We're going to be heading into a brand new area next time, and we should be able to fight another boss in that time period. We will see, but hopefully you guys are still enjoying. I'm having a blast playing through this again, and I will see you next time.